Alright, so I have my beveled slabs here, and I'm going to put them together in a box. Now, because I used a template to cut these out, and my template is square, at least I think it is, these square shapes should go together to form a cube. I've beveled all the edges, and what that means, because I've used a 45-degree bevel, is that these are going to line up and basically stand straight up, like this, like this. Because my slabs are leather hard, they can stand up like that. To make them stick, though, I cannot be gentle with them. I'm going to have to really score up these edges. So I've got a variety of scoring tools, and I thought I'd just show you several of them. So this little ZM tool is a nice one. This tool, these feather tools are nice tools for scoring. This one's a little bent, but it's still working just fine. Notice that I'm being a little bit aggressive with how I'm scoring this. I'm really scratching that surface. I don't want to come through and kind of gently make a couple lines because it won't stick. I need to get in there and rough up that surface before I put these together. I've also got this scoring tool, the wooden or the metal rib. I can use that to score. If you're in a pinch, it takes longer, but you can draw your lines in with a fork or a knife, a needle tool, a stick if you're outside and you have no tools available. So lots of options, just don't skimp on the scoring. And I'm going to do up 3 right away. You can actually see the difference in wetness of my different tiles. I can feel it, but you can see it. This one that has the little bits coming off of it, that one's a little drier than these other two that I'm working on. So I've got all my edges scored, and I've got some nice liquid slip over here. This is, on the sides it's getting a little dry, but at the bottom it's what I need. I'm doing this at the end of the quarter, so when we start the quarter, we'll have your slip made up nice for you. But anytime you are working and you don't have access to slip, slip is made with bone-dry clay in water. And you can make it at home or at the studio if we're running out. So I've put some slip in between, and now I'm giving these guys a nice hard push together. It's causing a little bit of clay to seep out that side, and that's good news, because that shows me that I've really pushed them together. I'm going to put a little bit of slip on this side too. If you are in a pinch at home and you don't have any dry clay, you can use just water, but you're going to really have to reinforce those seams. The water is not as good of a binder as using the slip itself. Score both sides. Slip has to just go in between, so you only have to put it on one side. So now I'm going to press these sides together and get my angles all kind of matched up. I'm pressing the side here together, and I'm pressing the bottom edge together. Now this is a nice strong seam because I've scored and slipped it, but a couple of things can make it stronger or weaker. One of the things I'm going to have you guys do, and I'm going to do right here, is I'm going to make this a stronger seam by reinforcing it. So I'm going to roll myself a coil. It doesn't have to be a very pretty coil, but it does have to be wet clay. So I'm going to take this wet clay coil and I'm going to press it into that seam. Now I'm holding the back here, because if I press hard and I'm not holding the back, that slab's going to slide on me. It's not completely secure yet. Some pressure can hurt it. I'm going to press this coil into that seam. I'm going to break it off when I get to this edge because I am going to add a slab there eventually. I can also press it into this seam here. It's harder to get this one at a good camera angle from the direction I'm facing. But, I'm going to press that seam in there, and then of course I also want to get this seam up here. I might, if I don't stick to the paper too much, I might want to flip it like that. That way I can use a little bit more force down. I'm pushing down and in on that corner, and of course my hand behind and the table, or the board, is helping me keep this steady. Notice that at that last bit I just had run out of clay, so I just grabbed a little pinch of wet clay. Now, at this point, you can also make this nice. It doesn't have to be just a slabs or a coil sticking out the side. You can smear that with your finger in place. You can also use a rib or a rubber tip tool. So I've got a rubber tip tool handy, and I can come in like this and smooth that edge. This is a nice big rubber tip tool. Depending on the size of your box, you might use a smaller one or a variety of them. You can also use a small red rubber or silicone rib. You know, back when they didn't have the small red silicone ribs, I would actually cut the lids off of, or cut a sort of rounded shape out of a yogurt lid, and that's a nice smooth plastic for doing the same sort of thing, smoothing like I'm doing right here. Milk jug, the side of a milk jug works well as well. Those red ribs are $5 a pop, and you probably have a milk jug at home, or you can get access to one. So I have made this seam look nice, right? It looks nice and smooth. Notice that I'm doing it when I can get in there. Once I add in a few more sides, it's going to be trickier. It's going to be trickier to see it, but it's also going to be trickier to get in there. Once I put in all 4 sides, I can still fit my hand in here and I can still work on that seam. But of course, the last one that goes on will not be able to be reinforced that way unless you open it up, unless you cut a hole in the piece and open it up. If you decide to do that, you can then clean up that seam. Now, all of these are going to be scored and slipped. All of these I'm going to use some pressure to put them together, and all of them are going to be reinforced on the inside. You're going to be left, if you don't do anything to avoid it, you're going to be left with a seam on the outside here that's a little bit rough. And depending what the surface of your piece is, so I've got this rolled surface, I may not want to do this because it'll change my surface. But I can use a rib on the outside, and notice I'm using the flat edge of a rib because it can follow the flat planes of the clay that I have here. I can also flip this around and get to my other side. Same kind of thing here. Now, if you do have a texture there, you can get in here. You can get in with your texture roller. This isn't the right texture roller, but you can get in here with your texture roller and you can roll that seam and show it again. I will finish this box and then show you some other ways to close it up and finish the edge.